The wind screamed across the coast, carrying sand, broken wood, and the roar of waves. Daniel ran with his head low, his arms over his face, as the storm ripped trees out of the ground. The hurricane was not just strong. It was alive. It sounded like 1,000 monsters chasing him. He had never seen the ocean so wild. It looked like claws of water trying to drag everything into the sea. Behind him, houses were torn apart like toys. Roofs flew like paper. Cars flipped and crashed. Power lines snapped with sparks. And the world turned gray and violent. Daniel's lungs burned, but he could not stop running. If he slowed down, he knew the storm would take him. He was only one man against the fury of nature. He had no family nearby, no one to run to. His car had been smashed by a falling tree, and the road was already a river of mud and debris. All he could do was keep moving, keep surviving. Then he saw it, a metal hatch sticking out from the ground, half covered by broken branches and wet leaves. At first, he thought it was nothing, just trash or an old well, but the wind pushed him closer and lightning flashed, showing the shape clearly. It was a bunker door. Daniel's heart pounded. Shelter. If he could get inside, maybe he could survive. Maybe he would not be another. Body swept away by the storm. He threw himself at the hatch. It was heavy, covered with rust, and the hinges screamed when he pulled. The storm pushed him back, but he gritted his teeth and pulled harder. The ground shook under his feet. The ocean roared with a final scream. The hatch opened. A wave of stale air rushed out, smelling of dust, stone, and something else. Something strange. Daniel coughed, but he did not care. He climbed down the ladder, his shoes slipping on the wet metal, and shut the door above him. Silence. For the first time in hours, the sound of the hurricane faded. The walls of the bunker blocked the storm. Only faint rumbles remained, like thunder far away. Daniel leaned against the cold wall, his chest rising and falling. He was alive. He had made it, but then he heard it. A voice, soft, low, and close. Not the storm, not his imagination. A whisper, carried in the still air of the bunker. "My fast ends today," the voice murmured. Daniel froze. His skin turned cold. His eyes searched the darkness. There was someone or something inside. He tried to calm himself. Maybe it was another person who found the bunker before him. Maybe it was just an old recording. But no. The voice was real, slow, and alive. He squinted, waiting for his eyes to adjust. The dim light came from broken panels on the wall, glowing weakly. Shadows stretched across the bunker floor, and in the corner, he saw it. A figure, tall, thin, and sitting cross-legged like it was waiting for him. Its skin shimmered faintly, pale like stone but moving like flesh. Its eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the weak light. Daniel's heart hammered in his chest. This was no human. The creature tilted its head slowly, watching him. Then, in the same quiet tone, it whispered again, "You opened the door, human. You broke the seal. My fast ends today." Daniel took a step back, his hands shaking. The bunker door was behind him, but he could not just run out. The hurricane outside would kill him. But staying here, with this creature, might be worse. What are you?" he managed to say, his voice breaking. The creature did not move. It simply breathed, each inhale sounding deep and heavy, as if it had been holding its breath for centuries. Daniel tried to think, tried to understand, was this real? Was it just the storm making him hallucinate? No, the voice was too sharp, too clear, too cold. His mind screamed at him to climb back up and face the storm, but his body stayed frozen, his feet locked to the ground. The bunker was not empty. He was not alone. The hurricane had driven him here to escape death. But inside, he had found something far older, far stranger, and perhaps far more dangerous. And as the storm raged above, the creature's glowing eyes did not blink. They stared at him like a man looks at food after a long hunger. The whisper echoed once more in the dark, sealing his fear. "My fast ends today." Daniel's breath came in quick bursts. His back pressed against the cold bunker wall, and his eyes refused to leave the figure in the corner. The creature sat so still it could have been carved from stone. Yet its glowing eyes followed him, calm, but unblinking. The silence was heavy. It wrapped around him tighter than the storm. Above, Daniel tried to swallow, but his throat felt dry. He thought about climbing back up the ladder, but the memory of roofs flying and cars tumbling like toys froze him in place. He had chosen this bunker, and now he was trapped with whatever this was. The creature finally moved, slowly, carefully, like a shadow stretching across the floor. It did not stand yet, only tilted its head again. Its voice carried softly, almost like a sigh. "You fear me, human, but you need not." Daniel's heart jumped at the sound. It was not the harsh growl of a monster. It was almost gentle, though strange. The words were clear, shaped in English, but with a rhythm that felt ancient. How do you know my language?" Daniel asked, his voice cracked. The creature blinked, a faint shimmer passing over its skin. It lifted one long hand, fingers thin like bone but smooth like glass. It pointed at the rusted hatch Daniel had forced open. The seal was placed with, "Your kind in mind. I was told when a human arrived my waiting would end. I have fasted for longer than you can imagine." Daniel's legs trembled. He wanted to laugh, to scream, to deny. But the storm above had already broken all rules of safety, and this thing's glowing eyes made denial impossible. "Fasted?" Daniel whispered. "You mean you haven't eaten?" The creature lowered its hand. Its body shivered once, as if even the word brought weakness. "My fast was not of choice. It was a vow, a punishment, and a promise. I would wait in darkness, without food, without light, until the right human stepped through the storm and opened the door." Daniel felt his chest tighten. He didn't want to understand. He didn't want to believe the thing had been waiting for him. Of all people, he was nobody, just a man trying to survive a hurricane. The creature finally rose, its body unfolded slowly, impossibly tall, its head brushing the curved ceiling of the bunker. Its glowing eyes dimmed for a moment, then flared again. Daniel stumbled back, pressing against the hatch. His hands searched blindly for the ladder, but he didn't climb. His brain screamed, "Monster," but his gut whispered, "Something more." "What do you want from me?" Daniel asked. His words rushed out like bullets. The creature tilted its head again, its mouth curved. Not a smile, not a snarl, something in between. "Not what you fear," it said. "You are not prey. You are the key. You opened what was sealed. That is enough." The words chilled Daniel. He wanted to demand answers, but before he could, a crack of thunder shook the bunker. Dust fell from the ceiling. The storm outside was ripping the earth apart. The creature closed its eyes for a moment, as if listening to the storm above. When it opened them again, its glowing gaze locked on Daniel. The world above trembles. The seas rage. "Your storm has torn open what your kind could not see." Daniel shook his head. "It's just a hurricane, a natural disaster. It happens. It's not." But the creature raised one hand, and Daniel stopped. The air in the bunker shifted, heavy, charged, as if lightning itself had crawled underground. "Your storms are not just storms, human. They are echoes, they are signs. My kind knew long ago this day would come, and now it has. My fast ends today because you are here." Daniel's legs weakened. He slid down the wall, sitting on the damp floor. He wanted to reject it, but deep inside he felt the weight of truth. This wasn't random. This wasn't chance. The creature moved closer. Its steps were slow, deliberate, yet silent. Daniel expected the sound of feet on stone, but there was none. The being glided more than walked. Its presence filled the small bunker like smoke filling a glass jar. When it was close enough, Daniel could see its details clearly. Its skin was not smooth. Lines ran across it like cracks in marble, glowing faintly with hidden light. Its face was narrow, almost human, but stretched longer, sharper, and its eyes burned with hunger, but not the hunger of food. It was something deeper, stranger. Daniel shivered. "What happens if your fast ends?" The creature crouched down, its glowing eyes inches from Daniel's face. Its voice dropped lower, softer, like a secret. "Then I remember what I am, and I show you what you were always meant to see." Daniel couldn't move. His breath shook. In his chest, every part of his mind screamed to escape, but his body stayed locked in place. He could not look away. The storm above roared louder. The walls groaned. Water dripped from cracks. But in that moment, none of it mattered. The danger wasn't the hurricane anymore. It was the thing kneeling before him, the thing that whispered in the dark, "My fast ends today." Daniel sat frozen on the damp floor. The glowing eyes of the creature burned into him. He wanted to run, but the storm above made escape impossible, and the being before him was even more terrifying. The creature slowly lowered itself, folding, its long limbs as if to sit again. It crossed its legs like a monk, its glowing cracks pulsing faintly. The silence stretched before it spoke, its voice soft but carrying weight. "You wonder who I am," it whispered. "You wonder why your feet were guided here. I will tell you, though the telling is heavy, and the truth is not kind." Daniel hugged his knees. His heart pounded so loudly he thought it would echo through the chamber, yet he could not stop listening. Every word dragged him deeper. "I am Kale," the creature said. Its name rolled like thunder in a canyon. "Once I was a guardian of my people. We were not made to hunger, not made to thirst. We lived in light, carried by endless energy. But pride brought ruin. Pride made us gods in our own minds." Daniel blinked. The words twisted in his head. This thing wasn't just some alien trapped underground. It was something ancient, something that remembered a life beyond storms and oceans. Kale's eyes dimmed. "We had enemies, human, not outside us but within us. My kin sought more power. They drank the light too deep. They wanted eternity for themselves. And so war came. War that burned worlds and crushed stars. I refused to join, and for that they cursed me." Daniel's voice cracked. "Cursed you? With fasting?" Kale nodded slowly. "Yes, they bound me in this prison. They carved the vow into my being, to sit in hunger and silence until the one who was never meant to arrived. A human." Daniel shook his head. The word human felt sharp in the creature's mouth. "Why? Why wait for us? We're nothing to you." Kale's eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. "You think yourselves nothing, but your kind is the echo of ours. The same spark runs in your veins, dimmed by time, hidden by flesh. But it is there, and my fast was to end only when that spark stood before me again." Daniel's stomach twisted. He wanted to deny it, but something in Kale's voice made his blood stir. The storm above roared louder, like it wanted to drown the truth. Kale's cracks glowed brighter, its body trembling. "I have starved for centuries, human. My kin thought no human would ever come here. They thought the sea and storms would keep you away forever, but you came. You opened the seal. You ended my hunger." Daniel's breath quickened. "If you're free now, what happens to me?" The creature leaned forward, its face close enough that Daniel felt the strange heat radiating from its skin. "That depends," it whispered. "My vow binds me. I cannot kill you. I cannot harm you. But I can show you. I can share what your kind has forgotten, if you choose to see." Daniel's chest tightened. He thought about the storm outside, the chaos that had driven him here. If this was true, if humans were somehow tied to this alien's people, then maybe the storm wasn't just a storm. Kale lowered its head for the first time, looking almost weary. "You must understand, human. I am no god. I am no demon. I am a prisoner of pride and time. But in my hunger, I have seen visions. I have watched your kind grow from dust. I have seen you build fire, sail oceans, touch the stars. You are not blind. You are only sleeping. And I am here to wake you." Daniel swallowed hard. His whole body trembled. The words were heavy, impossible, yet they carried a strange truth. The bunker groaned as another crash of thunder rolled above. Dust and water dripped, reminding Daniel that the storm was still trying to tear the world apart. But in this moment, the storm seemed smaller than the being before him. Kale's voice dropped lower, almost like a prayer. "When I say my fast ends today, it is not only hunger, it is silence, it is waiting. You are the first breath after endless darkness. The first step after endless stillness. You are the answer and the question. Both." Daniel's head spun. He pressed his palms to his eyes. This is insane. I'm just a man. I was just running from a hurricane. Cale leaned closer, its glowing cracks pulsing like a heartbeat. No, human, you were running to me. The word struck Daniel harder than the wind outside. He opened his eyes, staring at Cale, and for the first time, he felt something besides fear. He felt the weight of destiny pressing down on his shoulders. But Cale's body trembled again. The glow in its skin flickered. It leaned back slowly, its voice strained. The fast has ended, but the hunger lingers. It will not be easy, you must choose soon. For when the storm passes, the world will not be the same. Daniel looked up at the ceiling. The rumble of the hurricane shook the bunker. He thought of the flooded streets, the broken houses, the world torn apart. And then he looked at Cale, glowing faintly in the dark. A choice was coming, one he never asked for, one he could not escape. The creature's tale was only the beginning. The bunker felt smaller now. The air pressed heavy on Daniel's chest. Cale's glowing cracks pulsed faster like the heartbeat of a starving beast. Daniel hugged his knees tighter, watching every move. Every second felt like a thread stretched too far, ready to snap. Cale lowered its head, shoulders trembling. Its long fingers dug into the stone floor, carving faint scratches without effort. The sound made Daniel's skin crawl. My fast has ended, Cale whispered, but the voice no longer sounded calm. It quivered, deeper, heavier, like something chained was pulling at it. But the hunger claws at me still. Daniel's breath hitched. You said you couldn't harm me. Kyle's glowing eyes snapped open. They burned brighter than before, yet inside them was a storm of conflict. I cannot harm you, it said slowly. The vow still binds me, but hunger is not only for flesh. Human. Hunger is for power, for memory, for what I once was. Daniel stood halfway, his back brushing the cold wall. He didn't understand, but he knew danger when he saw it. Kyle's body shivered, its tall frame bending slightly as if carrying invisible weight. Cale raised one hand, its long fingers trembled, glowing veins spreading down its arm. Do you feel it? It whispered. The air thickens. The storm outside is not separate, it feeds this hunger. Every lightning strike calls to me. Every wave is a reminder. I was made for storms, for endless energy. And yet I have starved, waiting. Daniel shook, his head. I don't feel anything, it's just a hurricane, it's just weather. Cale's head tilted sharply. Its voice rumbled deeper. To you, it is weather. To me, it is a feast I cannot touch. The vow forbids me from taking until you allow it, human. The hunger awakens and it demands release. Daniel's stomach twisted. He understood now. It wasn't just hunger for food, it was hunger for power, for freedom. Cale's entire body shook with it. The walls groaned as the hurricane slammed above. Dust rained from the ceiling. A crack split along the bunker wall, water dripping through. The storm outside seemed alive, raging louder, as if it knew the being below was stirring. Daniel pressed his palms to the wall behind him. If I say no, if I don't allow it, what happens? Kyle closed its glowing eyes. Then I will weaken, fade, and perhaps vanish, and you will be left alone, waiting for your storm to decide if you live or die. The words stabbed deep. Daniel could almost see it. Cale crumbling into dust, the bunker filling with water and himself drowning or being torn apart when he tried to escape. Kyle's cracks pulsed wildly. Its voice shook. If you allow it, I will take what I need. The vow will end, and I will rise again. But you will not. Remain the same. The bond will change you, as it will change me. Daniel's knees weakened. He wanted to scream. This wasn't his problem. He hadn't asked for this. He just wanted shelter. Just wanted to live through the hurricane. And now the fate of this starving alien and his own survival were tangled together. The hunger inside Cale grew worse. Daniel could feel it in the air. Like static before lightning. His skin prickled. His hair stood up. His heart beat faster. Not only from fear, but from something pulling at him. Cale crouched low, its glowing eyes locking with Daniel's. The voice dropped to a whisper again. Do you feel it now, human? The pull. It is your spark, the same spark my kind once carried. That is why I hunger, not for flesh, not for blood, but for what lies hidden inside you. Daniel gasped. He wanted to deny it, but he did feel something, a faint heat in his chest, a pressure in his bones. The storm above seemed to echo inside him. The bunker shook harder. Water seeped faster through the cracks. The storm was tearing the world apart. Cale's hunger mirrored it, both pressing on Daniel at once. Choose, Cale hissed. Its voice cracked like thunder. Let me awaken, or let me die here. Either way, the storm will have its due. Daniel's hands shook. He was no hero, no chosen one. He was just a man who had been running from wind and rain, and now he was the key to something he couldn't even understand. Cale's trembling grew violent, its body arched, glowing cracks spreading like fire under stone. The hunger was pushing it beyond control. If Daniel did nothing, the being might tear itself apart and take the bunker with it. Daniel's chest rose and fell. His mind screamed no, but his heart whispered yes. The strange heat inside him answered Cale's call. He realized it wasn't just Cale's hunger. It was his own hidden spark waking up. For the first time, Daniel took a step toward the creature. His voice trembled. What happens if I say yes? Cale froze, its glowing eyes widened. Then the hunger ends and the storm bows to us. The walls shook again, stronger. A pipe snapped, spraying water across the bunker. Daniel had seconds to decide. He stared at the alien, at its glowing cracks, at its trembling body barely holding together. The hunger had awakened, and there was no going back. The storm above roared like a living beast. The ground shook under Daniel's feet. Dust rained from the ceiling as the old bunker groaned and cracked. He pressed his back to the wall, his eyes darting between the trembling ceiling and Cale's glowing form. Cale's hunger burned brighter. Its cracks pulsed like fire under stone. The glow lit the chamber in strange patterns. Daniel's shadow stretched long and thin across the wet floor. The air was thick with static, each breath heavy with the weight of something about to break. A deafening crash shook the bunker. A section of the ceiling split, stone and dirt falling in a shower. Water burst through a crack in the wall, flooding across the floor. Daniel stumbled back, his shoes splashing in the rising pool. Cale lifted its head sharply, its glowing eyes flared. The storm has found us, it whispered. It will tear this shelter apart. I cannot hold back much longer. Daniel coughed from the dust, his chest rose and fell quickly. He knew if the bunker collapsed, he would drown before he even reached the hatch. The ladder above was shaking violently. The metal groaned as if ready to snap. Another crash, louder this time. A pipe exploded, spraying freezing water across the chamber. Daniel shielded his face, but the flood rushed around his legs, climbing higher. Cale moved, its tall body straightened. Its trembling limbs grew steadier. It looked at the storm water with a strange hunger. Its glowing cracks flared as if they wanted to drink the storm itself. Do you see? Cale said. Its voice was deeper now, almost booming. The storm feeds me, but I cannot take it without you. The vow binds me still, human. Decide. Bind yourself to me, or we both perish here. Daniel shook his head, panic pressing down on him. I don't even understand what I'm choosing. You want me to just give myself to you? Cale stepped closer. The water swirled around its legs, glowing faintly as if reacting to its presence. Not give, Cale said. Share. The spark within you and the hunger within me must meet. Without it, this shelter will be your tomb. The walls shook again. The hatch above rattled loudly. Daniel glanced up, but the thought of opening it and facing the hurricane made his stomach twist. The storm was not survivable. Out there was death. In here, maybe worse. The water reached his knees. Daniel's breaths came short and fast. He looked at Cale, at its burning cracks, at the way its eyes did not blink. He felt the strange pull inside him again, the heat in his chest that had grown stronger. Since he entered this place, another section of ceiling collapsed. Stones splashed into the water. Daniel barely dodged. His hand scraped against the wall, his voice broke. If I say yes, if I allow it, what happens to me? Kyle's voice lowered, steady but heavy. You will not be the same. The spark inside you will awaken. You will see as I see. You will carry my hunger, but also my strength. You will not be prey to storm, or sea you will be more. Daniel's heart pounded, his mind screamed no, but the water was rising fast. The bunker was dying, and the storm would not wait. Cale crouched down, its glowing face inches from Daniel's. The storm outside roared louder, echoing in its voice. Choose, human. The storm breaks the bunker, the hunger breaks me, and your fear breaks you. Say yes, or we all end here. Daniel clenched his fists. His chest burned with the strange heat. He realized it was not just Cale's hunger calling. It was his own body answering. Something inside him wanted this. He could feel it in his bones. The water reached his waist, freezing heavy, pulling him down. The walls screamed under the pressure. A final groan shook the chamber like the last breath of a dying beast. Daniel's lips trembled. His voice cracked. I don't want to die here. Cale's glowing eyes flared brighter. It leaned closer. Then live with me. The ceiling split with a violent crash. Stones rained down. The water surged higher. Daniel threw his arms up to shield himself. His lungs filled with panic, he shouted through the chaos, his voice raw. Yes, do it. The chamber erupted in light. Cale's body glowed like fire bursting through cracks. The water around them shimmered, frozen in place. Lightning from the storm above seemed to strike the bunker without touching, filling the space with blinding brilliance. Daniel screamed, not from pain but from the overwhelming rush. His chest burned hot, the spark inside him igniting. His blood felt like thunder, his bones like steel. The storm itself roared through him. Cale's voice filled the bunker, deep and powerful, no longer trembling. The vow is broken. The fast is ended. We are bound. The water stopped rising, held in place as if time itself had slowed. The collapsing ceiling froze mid-fall, suspended by invisible force. Daniel gasped, his eyes wide. His body pulsed with strange energy. The fear that had crushed him was drowned by something else. Strength. Cale stood taller now, no longer weak. Its cracks blazed with steady light. It looked down at Daniel, and for the first time it smiled. The storm bows to us, Cale said. And in that moment Daniel knew he had changed forever. The bunker was no longer the same dark tomb Daniel had entered. The air glowed faintly, held together by Cale's light. The water that had been rushing inside hung frozen in strange stillness, as if the storm itself had paused. Daniel stood trembling, his chest burning with a new heat. His body felt heavier and lighter at the same time, as if something vast now lived inside him. Cale straightened, towering above. Its glowing cracks blazed brighter than before. Its trembling had stopped. Its voice was no longer weak. The bond is made, human. The vow that chained me is broken. Now you must decide the path. Daniel wiped water from his face. His hands shook. His heart raced. He looked down at the shimmering water held around, his waist like a frozen wall. He touched it, solid as stone, though it rippled faintly with trapped energy. This isn't real, Daniel whispered. I can't be part of this. Cale tilted its head. The glow of its eyes dimmed for a moment. It is real. You carry the spark. I feel it inside you. Your fear tries to smother it, but the bond will not break now. Still, choice remains, human. You must choose how you will carry it. Daniel's chest ached. He thought of his life before the storm, of running through the streets, of being just another man in a small world. He thought of how none of it prepared him for this moment. And yet here he was, holding power he never asked for. What if I don't want it? Daniel said, his voice cracked. What if I just want to live a normal life? Cale lowered itself, crouching so their eyes met, its voice softened. Normal is gone. The moment you opened the hatch, the path of storms claimed you. The hunger that was mine is now ours. If you walk away, it will consume you slowly, piece by piece. You cannot return to what you were. Daniel pressed his hands to his face. His mind screamed for escape. His body trembled with the strange energy running through it. He could feel it humming in his blood, like a drumbeat too loud to ignore. The bunker groaned. A crack split the ceiling. Dust fell again. The storm above had not ended, it only waited, held back by Cale's power. Kale's voice deepened. The storm calls. It knows the bond is made. If we do nothing, it will swallow this land. But if we act, we can shape it, bend it, survive it. Daniel dropped his hands, his eyes widened. Survive? You mean control the storm? Kyle nodded slowly. Yes. With the bond, its rage is not only destruction, it can be harnessed, but only if you choose to wield it. I cannot do so alone. I am tied to you now. Your decision will shape us both. Daniel's heart raced. He thought of the people out there, the town being torn apart, the families trapped, the lives swallowed by the hurricane. He thought of himself, how he had run only to save his own skin. Now he had something more than survival. He had power, but the thought terrified him. If I say yes, if I use it, won't I just become like you? A monster? Kale's glowing eyes softened. That is the choice power hungers. It always has. It devours those who hold it without wisdom. But you are human. You still remember weakness. You still feel fear. That may save you, or it may break you. Daniel's breath shook. The weight of it pressed on him. He was no hero, no warrior. He had never led anyone. He had only run. And yet now the choice was in his hands. The bunker trembled harder. The frozen water shivered. A crack of lightning outside lit the chamber like day. Kale's voice rose above the thunder. Decide, human. Will you embrace what you are becoming? Or will you let the storm consume everything? Daniel's fists clenched. He looked at Kale, at the being that had waited centuries for him, at the storm that had chased him here. He felt the spark burning in his chest, demanding release. He whispered at first, almost too low to hear. I don't want to die hiding. Then louder. I won't die running. Kale's eyes blazed. A deep rumble passed through the bunker, not from the storm, but from Kale itself. Then you choose to stand. Daniel nodded, though fear still gripped. I choose. To fight. The storm outside roared louder as if it had heard him. Lightning cracked so close it shook the ground. The frozen water shattered, spraying into the air, but instead of drowning, it swirled around them like a spiral of liquid light. Daniel gasped. His body vibrated with the energy. Kale placed a glowing hand on his shoulder. The touch burned and comforted at once. Then the bond is sealed, Kyle said. From this day you are no longer prey to storms. You are its master if you can bear the hunger. Daniel's chest pulsed with fire. His veins glowed faintly. He staggered but did not fall. The storm was no longer just outside, it was inside him. The choice was made. But what that choice would cost was yet to come. The storm no longer sounded the same to Daniel. Before it was a monster roaring above the earth. Now it was a voice, loud but familiar. Its thunder rolled inside his chest. Its lightning cracked in his veins. He could feel it. Not as an enemy, but as something alive that waited for his command. Kale stood tall beside him, glowing brighter, no longer trembling with hunger. The bond had fed it, freed it. The vow was broken. The hunger replaced with new strength. It looked down at Daniel with a gaze that held pride and warning. Human, Kale said. Its voice rolled like deep water. The storm bends because of you. But bending is not mastery. You must learn, or it will consume all. Daniel staggered. His body shook with the new energy. The air around him shimmered faintly. Every breath was heavy with power. He pressed his hands against the wall, feeling it vibrate with the storm above. The bunker was no longer safe. Cracks split wider. Water surged again. The storm demanded release. Kale raised a hand. The frozen water swirled up once more, hanging in the air like ribbons of liquid light. Guide it, Kale whispered. Do not fight it. Do not fear it. Let it move through you. Daniel clenched his jaw. He lifted his own hand. The spark in his chest flared, and to his shock, the water twisted in answer. It curled around his arm, glowing faintly. His heart pounded. He whispered, I can control it. Kale's glowing eyes narrowed. Control is a dangerous word. You are not its master. You are its vessel. If you believe you own it, you will fall. But if you carry it, It will rise with you. The bunker shook again. A huge section of the ceiling collapsed. Stones splashed into the swirling water. Dust choked the air. The hatch above rattled violently. Daniel looked up. He knew this place would not last much longer. Kyle stepped toward the ladder, its tall frame, casting long shadows. It is time. The storm waits above. We cannot hide beneath the earth. We must face it. Fear clawed at Daniel. The thought of stepping out into that hurricane made his stomach twist. But then the heat in his chest pulsed, and he realized he was no longer running. He was no longer helpless. Together, they climbed. The ladder groaned under Kyle's weight but held. Daniel pushed at the hatch. The wind tried to slam it shut, but his hands glowed faintly, and the storm could not stop him. He shoved it open and light burst down. They stepped out into chaos. The world above was shattered, trees bent like grass, houses broken. The sky was black, torn by lightning. The ocean clawed at the land. Daniel staggered at the sight. But then, something strange happened. The wind slowed around him. The rain curved. The lightning flashed but did not strike. The storm recognized him. Kyle raised its arms. Its glowing cracks flared like fire. It shouted in a voice that thundered across the sky. We are free. The vow is broken. The storm bows to us. Daniel felt it too. The hurricane's rage pressed against him, but it no longer felt endless. He could push it, bend it. His chest burned. His hands shook with raw energy. He closed his eyes, and for a moment he imagined calm. The wind faltered. Just for a breath. The hurricane eased. The rain softened. Lightning cracked farther away. Daniel gasped. His knees nearly buckled. The effort drained him, but it worked. Kale turned to him, its glowing gaze sharp. You see now, human, this bond is strength but also burden. Each choice will shape more than your life. It will shape the world around you. Do not waste it. Daniel breathed hard. His clothes clung to him. His body trembled. He looked out at the shattered town beyond. People might still be alive, trapped, waiting. He could help them now. He could be more than just a man running from the storm, but the weight pressed on him too. He knew Kale was right. Power, hungered. It always demanded more. What if one day he couldn't resist? What if one day he became the storm instead of guiding it? Kale seemed to read his thoughts. Its voice softened. That is the path, human, to carry hunger without being devoured, to walk with storms without drowning in them. It is not easy, but it is what you are now. Daniel nodded slowly. He looked up at the raging sky. His fear had not vanished, but it no longer chained him. He whispered almost to himself, I won't run anymore. Kyle's glowing cracks pulsed brighter. Good. For the storm is only the beginning. The hurricane roared again, but Daniel no longer felt like prey. The bond was new, fragile but real. He stood in the heart of destruction and knew he was alive, stronger than before. When dawn finally came, the storm faded. The sky broke open, and the sun cut through the clouds. The land lay in ruin. But Daniel stood tall, his eyes still glowing faintly. The hunger inside him had not ended, but it no longer ruled him. Beside him, Kyle turned to the horizon. This world will test you, human. Others will come. Drawn by what you now carry, be ready. Daniel took a deep breath. The air was clean, fresh, heavy with salt and earth. He looked at the ruins of his world, then at the endless sky. His voice was steady. Then let them come. The storm had ended, but his story had only begun.